Ladies and gentlemen, today we have got Nicholas joining us from Stamford, Connecticut in the United States. So Nicholas is a corporate communications executive in the pharmaceutical industry. He joined the program in around February, so it's been about 8 months now that he's been in the program, and he's kindly agreed today to come and share his story to inspire some of you guys to keep on his journey. So welcome, Nicholas, and thanks so much for coming on the channel today.
Thank you for having me, Leon.
So one first question, Nicholas, is how long have you not drank for now?
About 8 months since joining the program earlier this year. And that's the longest I've ever gone.
Man, that's awesome, man. So let's go back to before you joined the program. So what was life like before you got started with the program?
I would say I've never, we don't like the term alcoholic, right? But I would say I was a functional drinker, meaning that it was never a detrimental thing to my career. I was able to hold, jobs and have successful six-figure income, a good marriage relationship, healthy friendships, healthy social life, etc. It was more that it was an undermining force in my life. So it was disrupting my sleep. It was my concentration. It was making me gain weight. It was causing things like acid reflux when I would have red wine. It was just kind of like, and it was kind of, I think, maybe keeping me in a certain zone. It was maybe kind of sapping my ambition or my creativity, my ability to sort of, think bigger picture and push myself. And so I became interested in so that was my life before. I wouldn't say it was a thing where I was, a wreck or a mess or, on the street, any of that, but it was an undermining force.
Yeah, I love it. So there were like three big words that came up. You used some nice language. The undermining force. It was zapping your ambition, and it was holding you from thinking bigger picture. So for you, it was really just holding you back.
Yes, exactly. So I became interested in getting off of the booze. And at the time, I was working at a company where I had a long commute a couple of times a week. So I did an audiobook in my car called Quit Drinking by Alan Carr, Quit Drinking Without Willpower by Alan Carr, which I would encourage anyone to read. As someone who is a professional communicator, it was one of the most persuasive books I've ever read in terms of making a case for something, in this case, the case to not drinking, and case for not drinking, rather. And it was so persuasive that after one reading of it in my car, audiobook, I stopped for about 6 months. This was last year in 2022. But then and I was fine, felt great, wasn't tempted, and I ironically quit in the summertime, which is my most social time of year, right? That's typically when I drink the most. It's because I'm entertaining a lot and going to other people's social functions and so on. But then the holidays hit, and I just kind of went back. I regressed. I had a drink at a wedding I went to in late November, felt fine the next day. And then, the celebratory mood of the holidays and the general excess of the season, eating and having a lot of sweets and cakes and drinking, and it just kind of came up on me. And I kind of slipped back into my old patterns. And so it was after that, in January of the new year, of this year, that I started looking at Soberclear. I've been watching your videos for a while on YouTube. They were also very persuasive. And so that's when I sort of started to make a more conscientious investment in my health beyond just buying a book.
So you became interested in like getting off the booze. You had this long commute. You read the Stop Drinking book, super helpful for about 6 months. And then you just reached a point where, the thoughts came back, you drank at the wedding, and then slowly just started going back. A very typical story, I hear this 70-80% of people in the program, very similar experience. They read a book, they'll stop, and then something will happen that just kind of gets them off the rails. So then, then you found the videos, and then what?
The difference I would say is that after having read the book, I was informed enough to know why I was drinking, whereas I didn't really know that before. I understood that I was still attaching on some level, even if intellectually I knew that it was bad for me, on some deep-seated level, I was still attaching a positive value to alcohol consumption. So that made me, more interested in something more holistic beyond just a book that I could invest in. And what attracted me to Soberclear was that it has some of the positive attributes about AA, but none of the negative, right? So I have an uncle who joined AA. He was a very bad, drinker, drug addict, had very serious problems. Joined AA many years ago and was very successful in the program and was sober for decades, right? So it worked for some people, I acknowledge that, but I felt like it wasn't for me. I didn't like the negative labeling that you have to do. And I felt that for many people, it's sort of a substitute for other addictions or what have you. There was just something, I didn't like the quasi-religious nature of it. But I did like, I do like the sense of community, and I feel like that's kind of what you get out of Soberclear. I like that you have other people that you can talk to about this kind of thing, but it's not in a preachy way. I think that's where it's the same principles as the book that I read, but unlike the book where it focuses on getting over the hump and then you're done with it. Soberclear also focuses on the what next. Okay, so you've gotten past this thing of the consumption. What do you do after that? Where does your life go? And it focuses on the positive and the next steps in your life and optimizing your life. And you have a sense of community and people that you can talk to, but without labeling yourself in a negative way, right? And so that's what I would say is the differentiator between that and a book, whether it's Alan Carr's or any other book, which again, I recommend those books. But I would say you get more out of it in terms of a sense of community and having people to talk to. And I have found that very valuable in my journey.
Yeah, nice. Perfect. So you made this point of how, we focus on building a better future. So how's that looked for you? Like over the past 8 months, what changes have you seen personally?
I would say some of my health problems just magically went away. So I mentioned I was having trouble sleeping. I had a pretty, I would say significant sleep apnea problem. Um, just went away without any sort of medical treatment. Ditto with the acid reflux. It just stopped. Occasionally I might have a little bit of something related to something I might have, if I have a lot of fried food or something, it might sort of a little bit, but basically the drinking was the reason I was having it, or the major aggravator of it. I sleep much better. My concentration is much, much better. My energy level is better. And I would say that I can think in a big picture way, much more clear than I could before. And I see that my career in particular, I'd say that there is some calmness that's come to my relationships with my partner. Again, not that we were having problems before, but I would say it's better now. And my career and my dreams about running my own business and so forth, and certain big picture goals are now starting to transpire. And I think that they probably would not have transpired had I not gotten into this way of thinking and this initiative and this program. I left a six-figure position to start my own business and consulting and being self-employed. And I'm also looking into other business opportunities to have multiple revenue streams. This is something I've dreamed about doing for years. And it's a transformative part of my life. And I think it's directly related to better health. Yeah.
Man, this is awesome. So, and I think you made a really good point. You said you're able now to think in a bigger picture. And I think what happens is when we have had a problem of drinking for many years and we know it's a problem that we want to solve, but we put it off and put it off and put it off and put it off. And then eventually we say, now, do you know what? I'm solving this problem. You go in, and then when it finally clicks and you know that you're not going to drink anymore, it gives you permission to make bigger dreams because you start having the self-confidence that when you say you're going to do something, you actually follow through with it. So if you say, do you know what? No, I am starting that business. I am going to do it. Well, hang on, I've got a track record now of not drinking alcohol. I've said that I'm going to do something and it's working. Then it's like, well, hang on, why can't I go and start the business? Why can't I go and do that next big thing I've always wanted to do? And you've done it. What a great example.
Yeah, it's kind of serendipity. I just sort of, came across your videos, started watching them. That led me to the book. That led me to my first experience, the Alan Carr book. That led me to my first experience last year where I got a little taste of it, and made me much more aware. And then, circling back to your program and taking a harder look at it and deciding, let me invest in this for my health. And I think that it's been, really beneficial. And yeah, it's given me the courage to step out of my comfort zone in more ways than one in terms of my career and business, and take chances that I probably wouldn't have taken before. And I won't say, there are times when I might still think about it, you know what I mean? But I would say I'm in a much better place now, a much healthier place physically and psychologically, mentally, emotionally. There's not that undermining thing there anymore, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, yeah.
I've even had a positive takeaway from the sense that if alcohol can be marketed to make so many people believe that it's this really positive thing when we know that it's not, then I sure as hell can market what I have to sell, which is actually, the things that I want to do, books and things like that, magazines and my consulting service and art and things that are actually positive, right? So it's all just a
Mm-hmm.
question of like, how you market. And so I guess one sort of silver lining is if that industry can be so successful in marketing something so negative, that anything's possible, So I know that's a weird observation,
Mm-hmm.
maybe, but it just it's been a very educational ride, and I've also connected with some really interesting people in the program, people that you wouldn't think you have anything in common with at first blush, all different kinds of fields, parts of the country, parts of the world, even. Some people with children, some with not, some with their own businesses, some who worked in corporate roles or what have you. Many times people like myself who were successful on the surface of it, they might have a good marriage or good income, etc. But there was this big problem that was just getting in their way, and just holding them back. And so now they are kind of, they've gotten past a substantial barrier, but they have people to talk through it with and sort of, relate their day-to-day experiences. And, some people are really doing serious repair work with their families and things like that. And it's good to sort of, have a feeling that you can help other people too and talk to other people as they are helping me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice. Okay, so after that relapse, after your first 6 months, can you remember like the turning point where you were like, nah, do you know what? I need to do something different. I need to invest in myself, whatever it was. Can you remember the point where you were just like, enough is enough?
Yeah, I would say, I just woke up feeling lousy physically.
Mm,
And a serious hangover is just like you know uh of course it's certainly not the first time it's happened, but years ago I would say, oh God, I really have to sort of get this under control or just not do that again. But then I would just go right back to the same old thing, whereas this time I had much more awareness that, okay, I had started to sort of turn certain things around in my life and sort of reintroduce certain things that I had put on hold for a long time. And I was getting a taste of what it was like to be back in those things. And then after the holidays, I just felt that crash.
mm,
And I just realized that I didn't want this to get in my way anymore, this problem to get in my way anymore. So it was time to get serious about this. I would say, the monetary investment was a piece too.
mm-hmm,
You're sort of putting your money where your mouth is and treating this more strategically. And I just don't want this to be a problem in my life anymore. It was sometime after the holidays. It was in like sort of early January, and I just thought, oh, There's just got to be a better way, but now I have some education and some foresight into, you know and some maturity around the topic to know that I don't need
Mm.
this.
Yeah, I think for you, you're very self motivated. I'd say you were 90% of the way there on your own, and it was just that final 10% to actually, just put the nail in the coffin and just move on.
Exactly. And again, I would say the differentiator is the emphasis that's, over a book, is that this program gives you a way forward. It kind of helps you look at what is the next step? What do I do with myself now? And that sense of community that you can talk to people, So I would say that's the help, and it is helpful. I would say that's the differentiator, but it's not like AA. It's like I said, it takes all the some of the pros from that, but none of the cons.
Yeah, love it, man. You're crushing. How has your social life been since stopping drinking?
By the way, I love the example that you've given the program about, little kids at a birthday party, and do they need, you know,
Mm-mm.
scotch to have a good time? Obviously not. I've thought of that often. I would say that my social life is just as robust as it was before. In the summertime, I still like to entertain and do things. There have been times when I felt a little tug or a little challenge. I have the awareness to know that, if I'm attaching a false positive to, or a false value to this, to see through it. But there have been times, when I've thought of it. I had some friends who questioned or pushed back or laughed at it. But I would say for the
Mm-hmm.
most part, people were supportive. And, but I would say that the alcohol industry is still super, super pervasive, and it's around us all the time.
Mm.
But yeah, my social life is just as robust as it ever was, which just proves that you don't really need this. You can continue. My relationships are great. You do kind of embrace your more authentic self. I think one
Yeah.
attraction of the booze was that it helped me be the life of the party type of guy. And I've learned that I can still do that if I want to, but it has made me more introspective.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, I would say it's brought out a certain authenticity. You kind of learn more about yourself with the clear head. You can sort of understand yourself better
Mm.
without it.
Yeah, you just reminded me of something that my friend once said. He said when he used to drink, he drank to become extroverted, to be the life and soul of the party. I'm not saying that this is what you were doing, but I could relate to what this guy said. He said he drank to be extroverted, and then he realized I'm trying to impress a bunch of people and be the life and soul of the party, people I don't really like. And then he said when he stopped drinking, he realized that was never who I was, and he's actually a very introverted person that likes staying at home. Yeah, he'll still go out and socialize, but he never was that person. He was almost like just pretending to be somebody that he wasn't. And it was like when he stopped, he was just like, I don't need to pretend anymore. I can just be me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. I would say, I'm maybe a hybrid of that. I'm more introverted than
Mm,
I realized before. I still like
mm,
socializing, but I also like, being at home and quiet time and time for concentration. And I think that some of my dreams around, making art and writing and so forth can actually they feel much more tangible now than they did before. So yeah, you do find your real self pretty quickly with a clearer
yeah,
head.
hundred
Yeah.
percent, 100%. So what's so if you've got somebody, Nicholas, they're really on the fence. They're like, they think they're going to book a call, they think they're going to join the program, but there's something that's stopping them. What's one piece of advice that you'd give to them to push them over the edge?
I would say that by doing it, you're not alone, that you will find a group of supportive people. You'll find a lot of like-minded people. and think of it as an investment in your health. Even putting aside the sort of productivity things, maybe it's not even a career business matter. It's more just about your health, an investment in yourself. If you're willing to join a gym or get Botox or whatever these things, this is just as important or more so. And that you will be surprised at what is possible by doing these exercises, joining the program, joining the groups and the discussions. It's really, really beneficial. And that there's a whole world out there waiting for you. All you have to do is just sort of like get the process rolling, and a lot of it will take care of itself. You do have to, I would say, you do have to want it. The program provides a lot of benefits and so forth, but on some level, you've got to want it, right? So, it's like completing anything else. You have to sort of be at a point where you want it, because other people can't talk you out of it per se. They can give you arguments and rational reasons why, but on some level, it's got to be within you. So I would say, if you're looking into it and you're curious, on some level, this is what you need. So just take the first step and just go from there, and you'll be rewarded ultimately, I would say, beyond what you can imagine right now.